Hey guys, this is Adrian. I'm a homeschooling mom to two 13-year-olds who are currently in 8th grade. I'm going to share with you today a library haul for the next 2 weeks of our schooling. The first one is the only one I have for our science, and it's just a book on Isaac Newton. It says world-changing scientist. This was for our Guess Hollow's Actions and Reactions unit. I don't think this is exactly the one that they asked for, but this is the one I found at our library, so this is the one we used, or will be using. And then the rest are for history, for our World War II unit. And these first two are just books that I got for the kids just to look at while we're doing other things, if they're interested in, like the weapons of World War II. This is a true book. So this has different types of weapons and when they were used and how they were used. And then this one is a good question: why did the whole world go to war? And other questions about World War II. This one I wanted to use as more of a review when we're done with our unit. If I have to return this one before we get to the end of the unit, I'll just rent it out again. This one is called The Pebble. It's an allegory of the Holocaust. We originally were going to be reading The Book Thief, and they talked about allegory in that book, so I had gotten this to go along with that. And even though we're not going to be doing The Book Thief anymore, I thought that this looked very interesting, just how they used just chalk, because that's all they had to draw and make a story. This one's called Chester Nez and the Unbreakable Code, a Navajo Code Talker's Story by Joseph Bruzak. We have a graphic novel also about the Code Talkers, but about the picture book had really nice pictures. And here are some of the, I thought this was really interesting how it had some of the words they used. We're also going to be talking in the next couple of weeks about the home front and what the kids did in like USA and across the world. So I got boxes for, I'm not sure how to say her name, maybe Kaji, or maybe it's just Katie, like in America. But I thought the illustrations were interesting. It's a really sweet story and a true story based on this author's grandmother, I believe. It talks about it in the back, the true story about boxes and how they were shipping from America to places like Denmark. Then also in the home front, Diana's White House Garden. This was about a little girl that lived in the White House at the time of Roosevelt. Roosevelt didn't have any children, but this was someone else's child who worked for Roosevelt. I thought it was really interesting. It's a true story. It actually also has pictures of, I really like the illustrations in this one also. And here's a picture of the real little girl and a story about her at the end. This one's called Seen and Unseen. It's about the famous photographers during the Japanese-American internment camps. So that we have pictures and a story about Dorothea Lange, Toyo Miyatake, and Ansel Adams. And it goes through each one of those individual photographers and their story during the internment camps. Written by, so it has real photos and illustrations. Written by a boy, well, at the time he was a boy, in the internment camps. And there's real artifacts also, like documents and things. One looked really good. And then I also got a couple of movies to go along with our next 2 weeks. A League of Their Own, which is just about the home front again and what women, besides Rosie the Riveter, which we're going to get to next week, but what else they did besides helping out with building weapons and things. So there's the baseball league, the American Female Baseball League. And then I have two on Anne Frank. This one is from the 1950s. I thought it was going to be a colorized because the cover was colored, but it's actually still in black and white. So I don't know if my kids would actually want to watch it. But I believe, it doesn't say here, but I imagine that it's a PG-13 film from the 1950s. And this one was a BBC special from the late 90s. So I thought maybe since it was a BBC special, it might be more true to the story. But this one was a TV series in the 90s, or a TV show in the 90s, but it wasn't put on DVD until the early 2000s. And that's it for my library haul. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like when people show their pics from the library that they get to work with their units. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you. Please like and subscribe.